You are listening to the Joyce Aldrich Show from Toronto, Canada. Paranormal and UFO Edition. Yes, we call them UFOs.
Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. Might be Venus or some unknown light, hovering a bit too low tonight. Starlight and street lights and weather balloons, or something strange out of a five-star cartoon.
We're back for our second season of the Joyce Aldrich Show, and of course tonight is the Paranormal and UFO Edition, and it would only be the right thing, and it is the right thing that we have our wonderful house psychic, although he's not just a house psychic, he's psychic in the city. He's a renowned international psychic. He's been on air, he's been on television, he's been all around the world, and he's been out of this world too. And he's written a book also called Connection, The Discovery of a Soul System, along with a co-author, John Topp. But tonight, we're going to be talking about ghosts and EVPs and voices that go bump in the night. So, Brough Perkins, so wonderful to have you. Of course, you got to be the first guest back in the second season of this program.
I feel honored to kick it off again. We're gonna punt this thing right down the aisle.
Well, there you go.
Bowling connected. I haven't been bowling in a while. Joyce, thank you so much. My goodness, ghosts. Yeah. It's a perfect time of year. It's starting to get a little chilly here in Canada.
Well, you know, when the leaves start to change, and when we start to get ready to go to sleep in the winter, and that's so much like death right now, and certainly I wasn't going to do a Halloween show because that's just too cliche, as we were talking about that before. But certainly it is a time of year when things are ending, but also beginning at the same time. So, and that's exactly what, death is. We're souls, right? So it's really life after life. So we're going to talk about a little bit of the life that you caught on in EVPs, and also about your experiences as
yes.
Ghost hunter. I don't know.
Actually, come to think about it, I think it's almost today or yesterday, 21 years ago, when I filmed Much About Ghosts, that Much Music special, when I was a young lad still, and I'm in my 40s now, but back then, I had a ghost investigation to do. A family had asked me down in Goderich, Ontario, if I could come and check it out, their haunted house. So I had a friend, Amanda Walsh, who was a Much Music VJ at the time. And she said, well, why don't we come down with you? Why don't we put it on camera? She said, no promise. And maybe something interesting. We'll make it on TV, or, at least we'll just hang out. Because Amanda and I are like old, basically cousins. Her mother's like a mentor to me. Suzanne Walsh, who's a great psychic. And her mom was also a high school teacher of mine in school back in the 90s.
Connections.
So,
small world.
Oh, yeah. Small world. From that little town, Jack Layton, also from Hudson, Quebec, all of us, Jojo Savard, William Shatner went to my high school for like 2 seconds before he went to Stratford.
And you're a great Star Trek fan. Holy moly.
Great Star Trek fan.
You must have sat in the same seat as him or something, sat in the command chair, captain's chair.
I have. And we all seemed to come to Toronto, and then so we went down to Goderich, and some fun ensued. And it was exactly, it's either today or yesterday. I can't remember, to be honest. It was 2003.
Quite the anniversary. September. So what came out of that?
Oh, okay. So you've been on television too. I mean, you're buttering me up here, but I mean, you're like far more a star than I am. I mean, geez. No. Your whole family's been in show business. And so you know what B-roll is. We got out of the van and we're filming the outside of this house, this old Victorian, in this gorgeous town of Goderich, Ontario. If you haven't been there, or if you're not from there, you have to Google this place. It's
I've never been, actually, no.
It's a wonderful, beautiful place. And so we see this little girl with a bonnet on or something, or she's got a hat, or we're just collecting B-roll, and we're like, oh, the family must still be home. Even though I had asked them to vacate the premises for us, because we needed to get there and do our investigation.
Right.
We can't have the kids running. we get it on camera, Joyce, and we get inside the house. Nobody's there. No one's home. And so that's our first experience. Now, Amanda was already freaking out because she's like, yeah, kind of not sold on all this. I mean, her mother's a psych, you know what I mean? And here's this bro. Who is this bro? And, she loves me, but, she was not that a big a believer, and neither was our producer.
Right.
And so, we got in there and we caught an EVP, which is an acronym for electronic voice phenomena, where you don't hear it at the time unless you're like me, a psychic. I hear all kinds of things, but you don't hear it yourself until you play back the tape. And then there's some kind of a voice that was not there when you were recording.
Yeah, they find that with photographs too. That happens with photos.
And apparently video, because we got her apparition on tape. Little orbs as well. And so we got a shriek, and I named her. I got Gracie L. And then the producer, skeptical, went to the town records and found a little girl, which is what I said. We had a little girl in this house, and her name was Gracie Lawrence, and she died in the 1800s. So we helped her that night. That was in the days before the ghost shows really took off in Canada. And I think in America, it was 2003. We had the ghost hunters from the UK, a big thing at that point.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
You remember that. And, so what, instead of going in and antagonizing, I was in there to help. And that was my original mission. Much Music was just coming along with me. It wasn't like I was hired by them. They were on my investigation. And it made the top show of the year. We actually won an award for it. Our debut night on Halloween night in 2003 was 450,000 viewers, which was a lot back then for Much Music, for a new show. I mean, if you're not a celebrity, if you're nobody.
Yeah, no, Much Music was a great concept, great, wonderful idea. I'm just thinking back with the with this whole thing. People are so afraid of death, and I think this is also why I want to really talk about all of this tonight, because we don't die. We just transcend. We just keep going on and on and on. But this little girl.
Well, I like what Woody Allen says. He says, "I'm not afraid to be dead. I just don't want to be there when it happens." Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's the actual fear of the cutting the cord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what.
That's why this is a great era to be old, because you can be playing video games and doing all kinds of drugs, all kinds of nice dummies.
Yeah.
At the very end, you got to live a responsible life now, but like at the very end, I think we're just going to be a bunch of washed up stars, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll be in the old age, entertainer's home.
Well, you're going to be, yes, you'll be running a podcast from your deathbed. You're going to be having me on.
That's right. Hopefully you won't be on the other side.
It's the final season for this time.
I have to ask. Yeah, I have to ask you a question about EVPs, because I was thinking about this when we were talking just before the show. I thought, geez, do I ask him this? Because you know how, once we send this podcast goes out into the universe and keeps going and going, sound it's a wave, right? It's a wave of sound. So are we picking up with the EVPs? Are you picking up actual, these people are there? Or, on talking to you from their space, wherever they are, where their souls are? Or is it something that that's just in the ethers? I'm guessing the first, because if it was the second, then it wouldn't be answering you, because you have some that answer you.
That's why you're so skilled, because this is the perfect question. So the EVPs that I sent you, were coming through during a particular time in my life that I was running a series of projects with my colleague and a dear friend of mine, John Top, who is the co-author of my book, Connection. And a lot of the EVPs came through during a channeling session. So those who have read my book, and maybe those who will read the book, you're going to hear me actually in trance doing channeling. And oftentimes, just as I'm saying something, another voice in the room that was not there with us would speak, and or make a noise, and we have some of those. And
yeah. Well, how about
the project was that we were attempting to make a bridge between our world and the spirit world, and the spirit people were working with us, and we had worked with them for many years. I mean, this was a 14.5-year project. This was not something that my book alone took 5 years to write. And it was not an easy thing. And by the way, the book's not that great. I mean, it's not well written. I wouldn't call it Dostoevsky.
It's a documentation of what you did. And I'm just going to tell people to go to broughperkins.ca. That's BROUGHPERKINS.ca. And there you can see Connection, the discovery of a soul system, and purchase the book, of course. So there you go. Because it's an interesting documentation of what you did.
Thank you. And so, and a lot happened. John still has all the recordings, so there is audio of the entire book. Although we haven't released an audio edition at this time.
Yeah.
That might happen in the future, I mean, one of the things with the AI these days is people can actually just have AI write a book for them. But the nice thing about our book is we literally have everything on audio, so it's not AI.
It's if AI starts channeling, then I'm worried,
Oh, and there's a lot of bloopers. I mean, John and I would be like farting, we'd be just yelling at each other and just making stew because we're two men, when two men get together.
It's disgusting. Anyway, just joking. I'm kidding. It can be gross. It's all good, Well, women fart too.
But
anyway,
John did all the farting. I just laughed. Okay. I was only there for the ride.
Okay, we're talking about farting. Now, we are going to play one of these EVPs, and there's absolutely, for my listening audience, no farting on this. And please excuse us if we sound, you got to have fun. It's a tough life.
I think that every single EVP is a gastrointestinal phenomena. But here's the thing. These are actual spirit people. Well, here's how you know if it's a spirit person, because they actually are responding to something you're saying. And they're saying something legible. They are at another level. So when it comes through because John recorded all the sessions, and that's why we got EVPs, because the spirit voices on our tape.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's as if you're hearing someone underwater, and they're trying to get through to you, or behind a door. If you had someone talk to you through a wall or behind a door, it is because the veil of spirit to our world is such that, they don't have a body, and that's why you can't hear their voice in the moment. You can only hear it on the electromagnetic tape, or in our case, a digital audio recorder, which of course the microphone is electromagnetic.
Yeah.
So they use energy at that level, and it gets a little distorted. But I think your audience is going to make it out because they've got headphones, most of them, or earbuds.
Absolutely, and because it's a podcast, they can play it over and over again, and say, "What was that?" But actually, it's pretty clear. So, which one do you want to play first?
Well, let's. Okay, I have an idea. Play the one that you feel, except for the Belvedere. Let's save that for last because I want to tell a bit of a story around that.
Yes. Well, we'll go in the order. I'll play this one. First one.
All right. And then I'll tell. You guys tell us what you think you hear, or think to yourself what you think you hear, and listen to it like 2 or 3 times before I tell you what it says, and then so that I don't influence you. Okay. Go ahead.
So am I playing it 2 or 3 times?
No. Well, you could, yes.
No, I'm not. But they can if they go back and forth. Yeah. Okay, I have to be clear because sometimes I get confused. Okay.
Me too.
All right. So I'm gonna play this one.
That one might have been the hardest one to hear, but
I'm going to play it one more time.
So you can clearly hear something. What do you hear, Joyce? What do you hear, like, just on, like, having not known what it says? What do you hear?
Well, let me play it one more time because I think I need to hearing aids.
Before you do, let's just start with a very simple binary question. Is that a male or a female voice?
It's a female voice.
I agree.
And it's very, it's a, she's saying, I don't know, maybe I'm losing my hearing. This is, you're 69. So like, but it's very, she's saying a real sentence, and I'm trying to,
I would say it's as if she's in the middle of a phrase or the beginning half of a sentence, even, you know, like something. Do you want to play it once more?
Yeah. Here we go.
All right. I think it would be good if I set the scene.
Okay.
So John and I, every day after work, after my work, his work, he'd come over and we'd channeling, which would mean me going into a trance and channeling information for the book. And he would record everything I said. And then, of course, he would get these weird paranormal voices that were not with us at the time. Mm-hmm. It's just John and I. There's no woman in the room.
No.
Okay. And I live alone. I don't have anyone living with me at the time. So
except for your cat.
This voice shows up, except for my kitties. Yeah, that's right. And John and I listened to this on high definition headphones and talked about it a bit. And given the context of what we were discussing prior, because this was in the early phase of our channelings, that voice to us said he had to wait until he met him. Now that I say that, do you want to play it one more time?
Please.
He had to wait until he met him.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a syllable. It's almost, it's hard to hear.
Yeah, it's almost like there's an extra syllable in there. Yeah.
It also be interpreted he had to wait until he sent him.
I think that's more like it. Or that's what that's what I'm hearing. The scent. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's hear it once more. Let's. Mm-hmm. Till he sent him or sent you? What do you think?
Sent her.
Sent her.
I think I hear her. One more time.
I think I hear her too.
Her. I think I even heard her to me. One more time. This is interesting. Hold on a second. Sent her and me. Or he had to wait until he sent her and me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And me. It feels like there's an and me at the end of it.
I'm getting goosebumps, and here's why. I, at the time, was telling John about the fact that my spirit guide, Laren, who's a female in this, my spirit guide, had arranged our meeting and our connecting for this book. And I think we were talking about his spirit guide, Penelope, at the time. So that very well might be her voice. Mm-hmm. Not my spirit guide's voice, because I know Laren's voice, but that's John's guide's voice. Of course, because John was doing the recording. This was mostly his project in the beginning. Mm-hmm. He was pushing me to go into trance. I didn't know we were going to do a book.
No.
He came over to my apartment one day. He goes, just whatever you just did for your clients, just turn the beam on and see what happens. And I said, what's wrong? Do you need me to look into something? He said, stop it. Just turn it on and let's see what happens. And I felt sedate. I went into a trance, and this is what started to come through. Then my book. Yeah.
I highly recommend people read it because it's very interesting. It's like the Edgar Cayce books, they also read like that, because they're documenting what he did, It's
transcribed. The Edgar Cayce was transcription. I love that he had a secretary who would just sit there and type everything out and then keep in touch with all his clients.
Very different, because he didn't have recordings like a tape recorder to just or recording device like we have now.
Although I have heard a very rare recording of one of the Cayce tapes. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't send that to you tonight, but I have heard that.
Yeah, but it wasn't normal. She was doing her shorthand, but So you said you were getting goosebumps over that.
Because you added something and John and I didn't hear it. And sometimes you need a third person to pick out. And you being an audio specialist, a musician, a songstress, or a chanteuse, I might say,
Oh, yeah.
with all this experience, I think you just plucked out something that we didn't get. And this is the beauty of paranormal exploration, people.
Yeah.
You bring more people into your team, discover something.
Yay, team. Let's hear it one more time until we'll go on to something else. Another one. Here, hold on. Here we go again. Yeah, till he said her and me.
Well, I agree with you. I like your interpretation. I think it's true.
He had to wait until he said her and me.
Her and me. So she was talking about herself, the spirit guides. The spirit guides had arrived, and then the book came.
Yeah, he had to wait until, he sent her and me. Who's he?
He, I mean, me, bro.
Oh.
Because they were answering a question by John. John had, I forgot to tell you.
Okay.
So here's what made our channeling so interesting for us at the time. This is what kept us going for 5 years. He would write down questions like my clients do without telling me what he wrote. And then during the channeling sessions, I would answer them, you see? Mm-hmm. And you having had readings with me before you and I were friends, you know, you used to be a client of mine. You can't ever be a client of mine because I'm never going to charge you anymore. Well, we'll
No. I need to book one for the other side of the rainbow. So you don't know that those people. So I can pay you for that. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming.
Fair enough. Okay, but that aside, you wrote your questions ahead of time, and you experienced that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, it's because the thing is, you know, we think we're this 3-dimensional physical being. Well, yes, we are on one level, but not on all levels. So, you know, of course, we're you know, now especially with all the AI and everything like this and technology, we know there's no privacy because everything is, you know, is permeated by technology. But let's take that one step further and say that spirit and spirituality and soul, you know, all of that, we're all connected. So we got these little, you know, electrical tendrils. We're all connected. So I'm getting chills. I'm getting tingles.
I think that's a very good point.
You know,
I think that's a really good point, Joyce, because you're exactly right. You know, we're so used to this telecommunication, but we're so skeptical of telepathy.
Yeah, and all that, it's like that electrical matrix, whatever it is, you know, that is whatever dimension it is, wherever we go once we leave the body, because the body's one receptacle, but my goodness, when you think of, you know, we used to have when we first started, I guess, technology and everything, you know, with the radio or with you know, everything was wired. Now there's wireless now, right? And even beyond wireless now, you know, the way things are going, it's in the cloud, you know, and we think of all that in the cloud. You know, who'd have thought of that? Putting information in the cloud. Well, that's our spirituality, really, on a higher level.
I was in the cloud before there was a cloud.
There you go, Cloud 9. So let's have some more stories here. These are interesting. This is working out just cool. This is fine.
Oh, awesome. All right. Okay. So now what I love here, I like how this model is working out, because if you play one, so that we don't influence the listeners, prejudice.
No, I'm going to go to the next one. Okay, so I'm just going to play this and. My time now.
William. That one was a little harder to hear.
I'm going to play it one more. I'm going to play it one more time.
So you're awake. What do you do?
So you're awake. What are you going to do?
You'll hear my voice. You'll hear my voice say William first, and then there's a voice underneath the static. You've got to Here's the thing with EVP. You have to train your ear to listen underneath the static to something as if someone's speaking from behind a closed door. So I say William, and then underneath the static, another voice comes through. Go ahead.
Oh, William. That's what you say. Okay.
William.
Oh. He said, I'm here. You said William, and I heard, I'm here.
I say William, and then I hear I'm William underneath. Do you want to try that again and see? What do you think?
I heard I'm here, but then that's maybe my superimposing.
But they're also a little faster. The tempo's a little faster for spirit people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go.
They're vibrating faster than light.
Well, yeah, there's a zip, like in that Star Trek episode where people were going, they heard a buzz in their ear. Remember the zzz, they hear this little buzz next to them?
Ultra terrestrials, we call them.
There you go. Well, there we are. Hold on a second. Here we go again.
William.
Oh, yeah. He says, I'm William. You're right. He says, I'm William.
Could you isolate the William part or just that part and just, with your mouse or something?
Gonna try it right now.
I heard it.
Yeah, I'm William.
Now, this was about 7 years ago that we caught that. Yeah. So John and I were doing a channeling session, and in this particular one, he had asked, are there any other spirit guides participating in our project? But he didn't tell me that he had asked this question.
Oh.
This was in his bag. And I just said, there are other people here, and I'm William, like William. I didn't say but I just said William.
Mm-hmm.
We got that EVP.
Says, I'm William. And he sounds very pleasant, too. He's like, I'm William. Like, I'm here. I'm William. Like, yeah, I'm who it is. I'm William. Yeah.
Now, if you were dead for, 87, 150 years, would you not be ecstatic that someone could hear you finally on Earth? Like if you're trying to come through?
Yeah, it's like, someone saying, is Joyce in the room? Well, I'm Joyce. I'm here. I'm Joyce. I'm here. It's almost like being recognized. Yeah.
I think you'd break out into song and dance. I feel like you would.
No. Let me have 120 years in good health on the planet, please. It's like, yeah. Oh, Lord, love a duck.
I would probably, speaking of ducks, I'd probably quack one out. I'd probably do a little, a little joke. I'd be a little bit nasty as a spirit. Not a bad spirit nasty, but just a little funny. And they've been funny with us. And I think we'll save the Pop Weasel one for the last because that's a funny one.
Yeah, you've got a good story for that. Yeah. Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think you'd be nasty or anything either. I think you'd be sardonic. There you go.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right. It's very, very like Dorothy.
The sardonic spirit. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's we're doing very well here. Okay, let's try this other one. Here we go. Oh, that was clear.
The moan.
Ooh, something like that, eh? Let's do it one more time. Let's hear that. It's not a moan. It's more like a. It's almost like someone going, like, yeah. Like, oh.
Exactly. And that's how we interpreted it because we don't own dogs. But a dog owner would hear this and go, oh, my dog makes that noise when they stretch out. But a bigger dog, not a small dog. Like I used to have big dogs in my family. We had a Rottweiler, we had a Dalmatian, and they would do, they do the whole thing. But that's a woman again.
Definitely.
Yeah, you sense that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like someone is listening to a conversation going,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm probably listening to you guys going, that kind of thing. Like someone who's very vocal that way, not a quiet listener. I'm not a quiet listener.
Exactly.
That's my problem. But
And
yes.
the thing is, we had repeat visitors. We had the same voices coming through over the span of years.
Mm-hmm.
John unfortunately took them down. I'm going to have to ask him what's going on with that. But we had the same voices coming over EVP and also live audio. We had set up speakers that were not connected to a radio, just some speakers that we had rigged up a shortwave antenna to. And we had the same voices coming through, talking to us, singing to us. And that, I believe that was a woman that they call Foo in the spirit world.
Okay.
From a long time ago. And I wish I had that EVP for you. I tried to find it, but John had taken it offline, unknowing. He didn't know we were doing this, of course, but
there'll be other shows. There'll be other
Mm-hmm.
shows. What songs did you sing? French?
Well, no, it was American. She was like you'd think of an old saloon Western kind of, or someone who'd sing in San Francisco back in the 1800s.
Right.
Foo, right before vaudeville, like pre-vaudevillian,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah. Gay 90s.
Gay 90s, yeah.
Can't say that now. People wouldn't understand. They say gay 90s. What do you mean 1990? No, the gay 90s, you know.
Gay
She's
90s.
only a bird in a gilded cage.
Now you sound like Foo. She was like, there's a little church. Na 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 na, and she just go
I
on
got
these whole
tingles when you
ballads with
said
us.
that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's a little da dee da 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 dee. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
You're tuning into. I have tears in my eyes, Joyce, because you're channeling Foo right now. This is exactly what we get. No, 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 no. But I can't do it. I don't have anything that you have.
Yeah, no, she's. Well, I'm thinking of. There's a small hotel. La da dee da 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 da. That's a more 1930s or 20s song, but yeah.
I'm going to email this to John because when he hears you do that, he's going to remember Foo and he's going to put her back on the internet, and it's going to be beautiful.
Oh, well, maybe I'm Foo. No, I'm just kidding. She's still around. That's another thing. There's a question for you now.
Mm-hmm.
You probably maybe have an answer of some sort because it's really, it's like only God knows, But because we do reincarnate, we do have the transmigration of souls, and that's a real thing. But how long in between incarnations do people have on average? Or is that a real answer? I don't know.
So I've done readings for people who, like, I'll say, oh, you have a grandson named George. Mm-hmm. And goes, no, my grandson is not named George. But my father was named George. And then I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay. And then, of course, I followed the work of Dr. Ian Stevenson, who graduated from McGill University, up where I'm from, Montreal, and he became the head of psychiatry at University of Virginia.
Wow.
And he married a psychic woman, but he was fascinated with paranormal phenomena. He was an extremely proficient psychiatrist. And a great scientist. And he used to be fascinated with kids who had memories of past lives. And back in the 1970s, he'd travel all the way to India to interview these children, some of whom just knew details and even spoke languages that there was no way they could know. This was before the internet. This was before they didn't have electricity in these towns. And in one particular case, he took a young girl. She was about 5 years old, back to the town that she had proclaimed to have lived prior. And she described herself, she named herself and her cause of death, which was a tragic accident, accurately.
Boy. Well, look at how... Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Dr. Stevenson found the case, and she ran ahead of him when he took her to this town. She'd never been there before, and she knew exactly what street to run up. She named a third cousin by the correct name, and she wanted to kill her ex-husband's new wife. And just that kind of detail.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, sorry to interrupt, but I that's what I do so well. No, but I was thinking of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, because when they chose him, they felt there was a child, because they choose them when they're children, and they'll bring the former Dalai Lama's glasses and personal belongings. They'll bring different things that are similar, like 2 pairs of glasses, two different types of pens, 2 different whatever, different ones, and ask them to pick which ones do they gravitate to, and
Wow.
that's how His Holiness the Dalai Lama, they knew it was him, because those are my glasses, that is my pen, this is my this. He took all his belongings that were his, left the others behind, and then they
What
took them.
about the little kid in California who thought he was an old Hollywood producer?
Oh,
I can't remember his name, but one of my friends, Lloyd Arbuck, as well as a couple of other paranormal investigators, went to him with a slew of pictures with extremely similar looking men.
yeah.
And it was 100 different pictures, 100.
Wow.
And only one of those men was the third cousin or second cousin of the dead person the kid claimed to be. And the kid picked the exact correct cousin.
Wow. Now there you
Knew
go.
him by name. So people do. I had a past life memory when I was a child.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about it.
So I was born a blonde, blue-eyed kid in Montreal, and I stood in front of a full-length mirror in the 1980s. And I know I'm such a baby to you, Joyce.
Well, you are, but yeah, my kids' ages,
I'm the same as your son.
Yeah, you are.
I threw a fit, and my mother came in. She going, "What is wrong with you, kid?" And I said, "You made me wrong. I'm supposed to be chocolate."
Huh.
And I remembered being strung up and hanged
Wow.
on a water tower along a river. And I used to be obsessed with asking my father about water towers when I was a kid, how they worked, what they were all about.
Wow.
And they had lynched me because a young white lady got pregnant by her boyfriend, but blamed me, the black boy.
Of course.
And I was killed. And the baby came out white. They all also reincarnated. They're all my family now. No, I'm kidding. Maybe a little bit. I'm kidding.
Get you, my pretty. Yes.
I feel like they're my family now still. But yeah, so that was my past life memory, being lynched. It did happen. That was terrible.
No, it is terrible. Well, I have skin problems. Like, I've had eczema and all that kind of stuff. Dry skin I have. And I remember when I had an astrology chart done by this astrologer, and she said she's a psychic as well, and she said, "My goodness," she said, you died a couple of times at the stake.
We know you were a witch and you got burned.
Yeah.
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 You were burned.
Yeah.
I was lynched, and I have skin problems too. Now, I had never, so this is the second time tonight you're giving me goosebumps. I never, ever correlated my skin problems with the fact that I was lynched in my last life.
Yeah, that you're a different color as well.
Again, Joyce, okay, now you're my psychic, I think. Or you're just a good paranormal investigator, and that's what we do. We get down to the bottom of these things.
Well, I'm kind of clairsentient. That's what I am.
So I have a theory. Tell me what you think about this before we play this last clip, because this last clip is interesting and it's clear. It's a really clear one.
Yeah, the Belvedere one. Yeah.
Yes. So on my website, I have this saying that the aim of the work is to undo the pain of the past in the present in order to set the future free.
Yes.
So if you can iron out the wrinkles of your psyche, you're not going to hang on to things so much anymore. So if a memory that's like 18 months plus older comes up randomly and causes you discomfort, it means there's something about it you haven't fully integrated. You haven't thought it through to a point that you can prevent it from happening again.
Right.
So you have to learn to do that. And I think that's where past life trauma comes into play. And that's what I do as a psychic. I help people iron out the wrinkles of their past and the present to set the future free. So let's talk about this next clip, this ghost clip, because I have a friend, Tim, who's a lottery winner in the States. Some people may have heard of him. He won the lottery at 21 years old. He won $26 million on a Powerball ticket that he randomly chose after having a dream. He was on a TLC show called How the Lottery Changed My Life. And the thing about this clip, so Tim became a paranormal investigator. He's a friend of mine. And he was in this old theater.
Right.
And they were doing EVP recordings, all this. And this voice showed up out of nowhere. Do you want to play it?
Yeah. I was just listening to your story. I was so mesmerized. Hold on a second. Okay, this is the Belvedere one. Okay. Oh, let's play it one more time. Woo. Pop Weasel.
Pop Weasel? No.
Yeah.
And it's even in that transatlantic accent. Now, you know what a transatlantic accent is, but can you explain
he's
it?
Bostonian. It's like, here he is. Pop Weasel. Yeah.
Hey, Pop Weasel.
Yeah. It sounds like he's from Boston or from
Now, I didn't even tell
Cabot
you
Cove or somewhere, you know.
I didn't even tell you where that is, and you know that is exactly where it is. Okay. So a pop weasel was a word, and Tim didn't even know this at the time.
Because I'm thinking of Pop Goes the Weasel, but he's saying Pop Weasel, so that's got to have another meaning.
Oh, it does. It has a specific meaning, and this is the weirdest thing. Tim doesn't know what that means. None of us other paranormal investigators know what this means.
No.
Back in the day, when you used to go to church, you would you'd want to wear your Sunday's best. Mm-hmm. So you would have a suit on, but a lot of people couldn't afford one back then. So they would do this kind of suit exchange. Think of Value Village, but bowling shoe style.
I'm sorry. Can I tell you very fast? Mm-hmm. My daughter will die. I dated this Cuban guy for 11 years, and we were at one of those places, like I think not at Value Village, and I think we went to a garage sale, and we were, I don't know, I was dumb. I'm sorry for this sidebar because it's funny though. And anyway, he bought this pair of shoes. These are so nice. They're like, he's always into getting things with numbers on them, like, you know, and everything. And he got this, and they were size 9, perfect his size and everything like that. And he wore them. My daughter saw him. She said, Mom, why is he wearing bowling shoes? And I looked and went, you're right. But because he's Cuban, he was a black guy, and they looked really cool on him. And I thought, I'm so dumb. Those are bowling shoes.
Bowling shoes are friggin' cool.
They are so cool. You can wear them outside. They're leather soles, and it's a pure.
They're absolutely fine.
Pure. Yeah. But it was a funny thing though, because it was just because the 9 was on the back, you know.
Oh yeah. That's his lucky number.
They looked like nice spectator shoes as far as he was concerned.
But he may very well have been. If he walked into this particular theater, he would have been called a pop weasel.
Okay.
Because they used to call them a pop weasel. Because you just kind of popped up and you were like a little weasel. You weren't official. You didn't have a nice suit of your own, you know? Like it was just this derogatory term. And it was particularly in the religious context, just to be so nasty.
So my story connects.
Absolutely. That's exactly the sentiment.
Because my daughter saw him as a pop weasel. Like, what the heck are you wearing bowling shoes for? You know, right, you idiot.
Let's hear it again. Let's hear this. The spirit voice call your ex a pop weasel. He wasn't really an ex. He just was a nice lad.
Yeah. He was okay. Here you go. And you know the way he says it is in a derogatory way. Pop weasel, like it's almost like he's saying it to someone like Pop Weasel. So which one he was wearing bowling shoes that day?
Essentially, it means charlatan. It means charlatan.
Yeah.
I think the ghost must have been trying to get their attention, and they weren't actually seeing or sensing it because they're not psychics. So the ghost was like, Pop Weasel.
Yeah, you jerk. Listen to me. You know.
And nobody talks like that anymore. I mean, they haven't talked like that, not even in our day. I mean, it's at least 1946 is the last time that was ever uttered in that way.
Unreal. Or very real. It's very, very, very
I had
real.
to Google that. We had to Google it to find out what Pop Weasel even meant.
Well, yeah, because all you can think of is Pop Goes the Weasel, and I'm thinking, well, he's missing a few words there, and it's certainly not being sung. So what is it?
That's what's so interesting about that particular EVP was that none of us even knew what that combination of words meant. We had to look it up. We didn't understand what that meant. And we're like, and then when we looked it up, not only was it literally a common phrase for that particular period, also for that place in Boston, but it's like it also made sense for the fact that it was a bunch of ghost hunters being mocked by a ghost. So ghosts just look at you when you try to hunt with them. They just mock you.
Because like you said, they're buzzing around and they have to slow themselves down for us. And it's a whole different ball game because we're in the 3D. We're in slow
just
space.
A bunch of, you know what we are? We're a bunch of pop weasels, aren't we?
We really are.
We really
pop
are.
weasel. I'm going to have to start using that. It's better than the words that come out of my mouth sometimes, which I don't use on air.
Bring it back. Let's bring back the pop weasel.
That's it. So there you go. Pop weasel. There you go. I love it. So, ghosts. Well, there you go. I always ask you every program you come on to. Do you have any, think that? Well, I'm not laughing, and that's not
you're
funny.
Gonna like. I don't have any predictions you're gonna like.
Well, I don't need anything I like. I need what's real, right? It's not about. Right. It's not about making people happy.
We're not going to World War III. We're not going to go into World War III.
Well, I like that.
Israel will remain a state.
Of course. Yes.
That's what's important. Also, Trump will win again.
There you go.
In terms of Canadian politics and such, wow, we've had some interesting developments today, haven't we? With this last week, let's just say.
Well, with the Bloc and with the NDP, the Bloc now have more wiggle room.
Now, here's what I sense. The Liberals, which is really just Trudeau. It's not really because I've always been a Liberal, and I'm not going to concede my territory to him. He's infiltrated and you've been a Liberal too, haven't you?
I stopped voting Liberal as soon as he started to campaign. I went, whoa, no.
We're real Liberals, and he's ceded our territory. So the thing is, I think that the Bloc Québécois has taken some kind of a bribe, but I think what will happen is that they're going to betray the Liberals, and I think we're going to have a conservative government pretty soon. And then that's going to, and by the way, what is currently conservative isn't even a conservative government.
It's more liberal. It's more liberal.
Yeah, it's what I recall. Kind of center left.
Yeah, but did you hear that shake? That was my cat. He's on the table now. He's sniffing around. That's why I like what I hear. I think, well, this sounds like the old days.
Yeah, normal.
Yeah, normal. And people don't see that as normal, but it sure is. My gosh, when he jumps off the table, he goes thunk and meows.
I think there's going to be a prime minister that's going to come out of the East Coast that's going to be insanely cool and very interesting. And we don't know anything about who they are yet. And that's going to be within 6 years, mark my words.
Wow, that'll be cool.
A youngster, a young one. We need a young one. Maybe even a woman.
Wow. Yeah. Well, why not?
We're going to have her on our shows. We're going to promote her. When she comes.
We have to find her first before she becomes anything. We'll have to do the search. We'll have to do some remote viewing.
I don't want to say Ashley or Ainsley or something, but just let's keep this one for the books.
Ashley or Ainsley.
Hurry up, kiddo. We need you. We need you more than you know. So go to the poli-sci, go to whatever university you have to and figure your stuff out. Never take a bribe from the World Economic Forum or
No.
Or NATO or the UN, and not the Americans. You need to serve Canada.
Yeah, we've got a lot of backpedaling to do. Yeah. Well, let's not go down that road.
But I want to thank you so much for everything tonight. This has been fun. I feel like we had a good one.
Yeah, it's been a great one. It's wonderful having you on. Absolutely, and we always have great conversations.
I'm just a pop weasel around here.
You pop weasel. I love
play that one time. That one. EVP.
Oh yeah, I gotta do that again. That's it. Here's a second. That's it.
Yeah,
Pop
that's
weasel.
Me.
There you are.
That's
Pop
me.
weasel.
My debut. Okay.
That's how I'll introduce you from now on. But no, we had fun, and of course, you are a regular. So we have tried to do the psychic readings on the show, but I think we're just going to keep talking about all kinds of things because there's the whole universe of things to talk about.
I do psychic readings on my live streams.
I know.
You can come to those.
And we got to tell people again where they can go. Tell the people where they can go. They can go to broughperkins.ca, BROUGHPERKINS.ca. Get the book Connection, the Discovery of a Soul System, and also, book a reading. How far in advance are you booked for now? You
3.5
Pop
months.
Weasel? 3.5 months.
There's a promotional code. It's called Pop Weasel right now. There's actually not a promotion code. I'm not going to give you fools a promotional code.
You know what? That would be a great promotion code, though, wouldn't it? Be great.
There will be the Pop Weasel promotional code.
You have
Once
to do it.
We get up to a little bit, like if we get up to, let's say, 8 or 9 likes. If I can get 8 or 9 likes on my page, I'll release a Pop Weasel code for this particular, which should be easy because you've got hundreds and hundreds, over 1,000 people who listen now.
Yeah. So it's building. Yeah.
So those who have hung in this long, give me a little like on my Facebook page, Brough Perkins, Psychic Medium Brough Perkins. You'll see me holding my cat.
Yeah.
And on Facebook, and you can do that, or on Instagram, and give me a like a Rooney, and then I'll do a Pop Weasel promotional code just for the Joyce Aldrich Show.
There you go. I like that idea. I like that. So I'll have to put that in the also in the description box on Patreon and Spotify when they're listening, so they'll know what to do. Go to broughperkins.ca, book a reading, and it'll always be the right time as well. You say, 3 months, 3.5 months. It'll be the right time. Believe me, it's all about timing, and everything is helical anyway. It's not linear. So there you go. Right, bro.
Yeah, people go, it's a bit of a wait, and it's interesting, when you're very popular doing what you do and people have to book 3 months in advance, they stop booking because they think somehow, that's too much of a wait. But if you don't book, it's more of a wait.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I'll book in 3.5 months. Oh, excuse me. It's now 7 months. Okay. Anyway.
7 months.
Exactly. So it's always great having you on, but stand by. Here we go. We're just going to sign out now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here talking about ghosts and great and hearing from the other side. Always wonderful to hear from the other side. Here we go.
You are listening to the Joyce Aldrich Show from Toronto, Canada. Paranormal and UFO Edition. Yes, we call them UFOs.
Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight might be Venus or some unknown light, hovering a bit too low tonight. The lightning streetlights and where's the balloon, or something strange out of a fire.